Airbrushes. Do you need them for model painting? Let's talk about that topic today. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. As I said, airbrushes. A hot topic and a wide monopoly on, do I actually need this to paint my models? Well, today that's the topic I want to discuss. Do you have to have an airbrush? And if so, what all airbrushes are out there? Well, that is a limited topic that we're going to talk about today. We're going to do high-level overview. So we're not going to dig into particular brushes. I'm going to kind of show you what I have, what I've learned on, and how I've moved up. So kind of the discussion here is this is really aimed at beginners who are thinking about this. Do you need airbrushes to do model painting? No. But they do make the job a lot easier and a lot more fun to kind of figure out what you want to do with a model. And if you've got a big project, they can be huge time savers. So it's always kind of something to keep in mind and think about as you're kind of looking at how I want to build models, whether I want to build little miniatures or if I want to build great big 3-foot long battle stars. Do I need that airbrush? Now, several things I want to talk about in this video is cost. Where should you even start? There are some cheap options to start depending on how you want to use your airbrush. The second one I want to talk about is compressors. Yeah, you need a compressor. And to just kind of talk about some of the different options with airbrushes as we start with very low cost and start going up very high cost. And we're going to move over to the desk and we're going to talk about these. I'm going to show you what I have and why I use that particular brush for that reason. So then we may tip into some accessories. I may save that for another video. I haven't decided yet. So if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, help us out, gets out there so other people's algorithm picks us up and sees us. And if you got a question about an airbrush or one that you maybe want me to take a look at, compressors, all that kind of stuff, leave the question down in the comments down below. That way we can always kind of circle around, even maybe become a video. So keep that in mind as we keep going through here. Now, airbrushes, I am kind of a beginner with them. But like I said, I want to hop over. I want to show you what I've got. We may do an entire separate video in regard to compressors because there's all shapes, sizes, and different things like that to keep in mind too. So this is very high level overview. Keep that in mind. So let's move over to the desk and take a look at those airbrushes. All right, guys, so you can see here on the table, there are a ton of airbrushes that I have collected over the years. So airbrushes are kind of a good tool, and I'm going to talk about a few things because like I said, this is a high level overview of airbrushing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my Badger airbrushes off to the side. And I'm going to talk about some of these lower ones like this Kibby. So this Kibby runs a pretty fair price on Amazon, great for beginners. Now the thing about the Kibby is this guy, it has its own compressor, it's USB recharged, so everything is in the unit. The only thing I don't like about this brush is I can't regulate the airflow. I can't turn it up, turn it down. Now this is a double action airbrush that comes with it, that is by Kibby. It is all in one unit and it's really kind of handy. If you're getting started and you're wanting to do stuff like priming and stuff like that, this is a really good airbrush for just that. Now getting into sharp detail, I struggled with this one, but for large scale airbrushing with laying down a single layer coat or priming, it's a great handy little tool. I've really liked this one. It works really, really well. So I'm going to set the Kibby off to the side here. I want to talk about this Gosher one. So this is a combo unit as well. So double action airbrush, desk side air compressor. So again, not really much flow control from the compressor itself. 3 modes, works really, really well, really good price. But the way I regulate is here. So I actually have a on-off regulator to let me control the air pressure going to the gun, despite how much the compressor is pushing. Works really well. I like this. I do some detailing work with it. This one's more my travel. So if I know I'm going to be gone for like a week or two and I want to do some work, I take this guy along. Works really well. Just one version of airbrush. Now, again, links to all these will be down in the descriptions with their prices. So keep that in mind. Now, how did I start with airbrushes? I started with the Master line, which are what we see in front of us here. The Master line is a really kind of convenient set of airbrushes that work really, really well, great for beginners, and come at great prices. So you've kind of got your two standard standard style airbrush. Very convenient, very simple, very clean, very simple, and great beginner brushes. So low cost, easily maintained, and one thing I'm going to talk about here a little further on are the quick connects. So these are the basic brushes. They work really, really well. Different setups, focused and non-focused. Then you've got my real detailing high-end brush, which I can use as light loads, get in. The double action is really sensitive on this Master one. I really like it for getting into direct airbrushing. Now when I'm priming and I'm doing big boy jobs, I love this Master brush. So this one's kind of expensive and it works really well, especially when I'm doing large single layers. It is very much more form-fitting for my hands. I like the grip better and the standard trigger to let me do the work that I enjoy doing. And one thing to keep in mind, all of these have needles in them. Like this one, I need to replace the needle. I'm holding that for a separate video to show you how to replace the needles and just kind of get those working forward. And you probably hear Eva in the background having fun with her new toy. But this one I use especially when I'm just laying down layer after layer. So say if I'm doing like a battleship and I'm doing that red layer underneath, or if I'm priming a massive model, this is the gun I typically go to for those. And I also have the Master compressor. I'm going to put a collection down here that has three of these I think it's 2 or 3 of these airbrushes plus the compressor, and I really like the Master compressor. It's not very loud, very quiet, works really well. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring it in here on the desk, and it works really, really nicely. So these airbrushes, they work great, they're clean. I really enjoy the Master line. Now, as I've proceeded down the line of miniatures and going for sharp detail, that's when these Badgers have come in. So this is a Badger Sotar 2020, and get a kind of a closer look at it here. A really nice airbrush, really well built. The needle has really nice protection. It is a light load machine, so this is meant for details. This one is connected to my no-named compressor under my desk here that I use. And again, you see I've got the quick connectors. Now the nice thing about my no-named compressor is I have a dial I can control the air pressure, so I don't have to have one up here at the gun. But you can hear it works really well. It is a dual action. I've got it turned up pretty high right now. So the Sotar is one that I really, really enjoy. If I'm doing larger paint jobs, I go to the Badger 105. It works really, really well. Again, quick connect on it. And actually, I'll take the cover here. Come on. Take the cover off so you can get a better look at it here. So the Badger 105. Now I bought the 105 and I bought the 155 in a kit for about $155. That's about what the Sotar 2020 runs. Now this guy is a little different. It's meant to be a quick connect. You put your mixture in the tube, you slot the tube in, and you paint. And it's supposed to draw it up into and out. So it's a quick way to have a large scale amount of fluid and paint. A lot of times I have one of these that is just filled with my cleaner to keep the guns clean. And again, I just really enjoy the Badger guns, especially the Sotar 2020, when I'm working on fine miniatures. So these are kind of nice, good guns to keep in mind. So there's multiple levels here where you can start. You notice I haven't even picked on the box over here, but one of the things I enjoy are the quick connects, especially when I need to clean a brush or switch. I only have to have one hose and I can just disconnect and reconnect as I want to. So the quick connects are really good. I'll have a link in the description for those as well. They come in really handy, but some people don't want to do the quick connect and have multiple hoses. They sell these really nice tri connectors and dual connectors that you can screw in at the edge of your compressor and have multiple air hoses going off to multiple guns. That, keep in mind, that can affect your compression, different things like that. So this is all kind of just handy dandy stuff. These are the guns that I use to do my airbrushing. So really kind of handy stuff. Now, the Central Pneumatic. This is a Harbor Freight airbrush. Why do I have a Harbor Freight cheapo airbrush? So sometimes I do stuff that's not paint, or I do enamels, and they can be very hard to clean. And honestly, this guy's like 15 bucks. So I sometimes just use these as throwaways. I've tried doing like the Bondo glaze spraying and stuff like that. And these are the guns that I test that stuff out with, because if they get destroyed, I'm not really going to cry about it. So that's why I like the Central Pneumatic ones from Harbor Freight as well. Because if it doesn't work and it ruins the gun, I didn't ruin my Badger. That's kind of important. Usually through my Badgers, I'm running acrylics, airbrush acrylics. I kind of stay away from the enamels in the guns because they're a bit harder to clean. And one handy dandy tool, because I brought up the word clean, is this guy. So it's really handy. There's filters in the top. I can put my gun in here and run distilled water or thinner through it to clean the brush. And it's all kept in here. All the fumes are in here and fluids. And this can be cleaned and done later. And it has a handy holder to hold your airbrush. So I think these run around $20 on Amazon. Link again will be in the description down below. So airbrushes everywhere, right? There's all kinds of airbrush stuff here. Now, one of the things, if you do get an airbrush, I recommend getting a spare needle kit, because needles bend. So I've got all various different sizes. And actually, I'll pull this one out, of needles to go into the airbrushes. Make sure you read your manual and find out which needle your airbrush is using. You've got everything from 0.3 to 0.2 to 0.5. It just kind of depends on the airbrush. So kind of keep that in mind. Make sure you're reading and what your airbrush needs if you decide to get one. I really like the Central Pneumatic or the Master Kits to start. They are a bit noisy. My No Name is quite noisy. Let's see if I can get it to chime on under the desk here. I don't think it's going to. My No Name is a rather big one. I'll put the description in there. It's got a secondary larger tank. It's just not a straight compressor. But so again, how I use these: big projects, middle projects, small projects. Because I don't have a huge reservoir. I don't need to put a bunch of paint in here to get it to paint. And you know, even like I said, even the Kibbe and the Gosher are nice. The Kibbe is nice, especially if I need to walk out to the garage or go outside with it to paint something massive and I don't want to make a mess. It's great because everything's in my hand and can go with me and be recharged. So it's a handy dandy little gun. It works really, really well. And again, I'll have links in the description along with prices. So hopefully you kind of find the high level overview kind of nice of looking at the airbrushes and kind of the stuff that I have in here. This is all just different adapter sizes, different hoses, and different things like that. You guys can see I have various different types of hoses and stuff like that. Because hoses are everywhere. But definitely great way to get started. Cheaper ways to get started than going straight after a Badger or something like that and learn on them to maybe not mess up or destroy a gun. Or like I even said, there are cheap paint airbrush guns to destroy. And that's what I do a lot of times with these little Central Pneumatics. If I'm trying something completely bizarre, like I said, with the Bondo glazing and different things like that, that I want to make sure I'm not ruining a $150 airbrush. So, but even the Master line, they have really nice mechanics, really clean fitting. I like the Master lines because, like the needle for this one, it's all intercontained. So even if I'm making a mess, the paint is not getting into here, and there's easy ways to clean it up, but I'm not cleaning them today. And I will actually do a video on cleaning your airbrushes later on down the line. So that's it, guys. That's my whole airbrush collection. Again, I'll have links in the descriptions to what compressors I have, the starter kits that I recommend, these nice Goshers, and the Kibbe to hopefully kind of fit the needs of what you're looking for. So let's close this one out. Alright guys, that's what I've got. That's where my suggestions are. I mean, there's all kinds to these that have the compressor built onto them or USB chargeable. This is a Kiwi, to the Gopher that has a small pocket one, depending on the space where you have, all the way up to the high value Badger airbrushes. So lots of options, lots of things to keep in mind, and also just kind of work on. And if you guys have a video that you really want me to narrow down, like dismantling your airbrush, proper cleaning, that one's coming because you need to know how to clean your airbrush and what tools and stuff you may need for that as well. So thank you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get this channel rolling. And also hit that like button. Help us out. And again, questions down in the comments. So thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video.